am your girl, certified life coach. Listen, Misty D. Scott, MBA. My mom like to throw that on there. That's Misty D. Scott, MBA. I am an author, certified life coach, and I am also your spiritual CEO, and I am here to help you heal. Period, point blank. I will be offering free coaching every morning between the hours of 4 a.m. and 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. And we're going to work on everything from love, health, self, and wealth. Now, before we can get into the money of it all, we got to get ourselves fixed, and we're going to start with that inner child. So, if you have not been rocking with me for the past couple of days, we have been working from my book. Thank you. We have been working from my book, which is Daddy's Little Girl. We've been working from Daddy's Little Girl, and this is about how women who have father or have abandonment issues, how those issues show up in your adult life, and how to reparent yourself and fix it once and for all. All right. All right. So if you don't have pen and paper, this is the time now. I'm going to get you something to drink, get your coffee, your water, whatever the case may be. Get your pen and paper. During my free coaching sessions online, my free presentations, I do offer free coaching. So if you would like to join my live and get 2 minutes of free coaching, don't sound like a lot, but it is. I let you tell your story first, and then I give you 2 minutes of coaching, right? And here's the deal, guys. So I always say this. No, I am not a therapist. I'm not. I'm not here. We do talk about your past so we can identify the root of the problem, but I'm here to talk about your present and definitely your future. As a coach, I am here to get you to the finish line. I am not here to unravel your pain. I am here to acknowledge it, help you acknowledge it, and write out a plan to press forward. Okay? All right. So if you've been rocking with us, we are working from Daddy's Little Girls, and we are now on chapter 6, reparenting yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and read from the chapter. If you have the book, go ahead and open up to chapter 6. If you and let me see where we're going to be at as far as the lesson. So the lesson, okay, we are going to talk about reparenting and reclaiming softness. That's going to be our lesson today, and the reading will be from chapter 6. So I'm going to go ahead and read chapter 6. If you don't have the book, get comfortable. This is not necessarily a story time, but what I heard, it was a good read. It was a good read. All right, y'all, let's get into it. Chapter 6: Becoming the parent you always needed. At some point, you stop waiting. You stop waiting for the apology, the acknowledgement, right? The redemption arc. The moment he finally sees your worth and shows up like he was supposed to, you stop waiting, not because you don't still want it, but because your healing can't depend on someone else's growth. I'm going to say that for the people in the back, because see, a lot of this in the book, when we talk about daddy issues, listen, a lot of this in the book, when we talk about daddy issues, we are actually talking about this is translate to some of your relationship issues, correct? All right, y'all. We have a flash goal over here on TikTok. If I could get 15 people, 15 different gifters to go ahead and hit that, and let's go ahead and do the heartbeat, I would appreciate it. You ready? I'm gonna say this again. At some point, you stop waiting. How many people have stopped waiting for their father to show up? How many people have stopped waiting for that apology from their father or their mother? How many people they just stop waiting? How many people stop waiting? Hmm? If that's you, says you. How many people have stopped waiting? Thank you, Mia. Thank you, Quita. I appreciate y'all. Y'all, we are looking for 11 more people to send that heart me. I'll pin it up in another 5 minutes. All right, good. Again, you listen, you are no longer waiting for the moment that your father finally sees your worth and shows up like he was supposed to. You stop waiting, not because you still don't want it, but because your healing can't depend on someone else's growth. And in that moment, you begin what I call the sacred art of reparenting. So let's get into it. Let's talk about what reparenting is. Reparenting is the practice of becoming for yourself what your father or mother could not be. I'm going to say this again. Reparenting is the practice of becoming for yourself what your mother or father could not be. It is showing up for your inner child, not as a wounded little girl trying to survive, but as the wise, powerful grown woman you are today. Reparenting involves saying, I've got it now. You don't have to earn love anymore. And you are safe, seen, and supported by me. I want you to know that reparenting is not about erasing the past. It's about giving your nervous system a new reality to believe in. One where consistency exists, where needs are valid, and where boundaries are respected, and where love doesn't hurt. It's not easy, but it's transformational. Now, let me say this to say that. Thank you so much, Erica. The inner child is not a metaphor. Now, when we talk about the inner child, some people think, oh, that's just a metaphor for something. The inner child is not a metaphor, right? That little girl who watched her father leave, or who waited by the window, or who got used to being ignored, she is still inside of you. She speaks every time you feel triggered, rejected, or abandoned. She shows up when you panic, when a man doesn't text back, over explain your feelings to keep someone from walking away, stay in situations too long, hoping that love will be enough. No, she is not dramatic. She's not irrational. She's scared. She's still stuck in a story that says, if I don't behave, they'll leave me again. But I'm here to tell you at 4:08 Central Standard Time, the good news is that little girl inside of you doesn't have to run the show anymore. Now you get to be the adult in the room. You get to speak to her with kindness, protect her boundaries, and lead her with love. This is reparenting. Now, does anybody have any questions on how to reparent themselves? Is anybody like, well, what is this lady talking about? Does anybody have any questions on reparenting? And if you are new to the live, welcome in. My name is Coach Misty, and I'm presenting Daddy's Little Girls. This is a free coaching program to help women heal the father wound, reparent themselves, and move forward. So, is there anybody here that has any questions before I move any further? I always like to do a temperature check to make sure we all on the same page. All right. Let's talk about ways to reparent yourself. Let's talk about ways to reparent yourself. I want you to know that you don't need a therapist, a certification, or a magic wand. You just need intention. You need presence. And you need to listen. Here are a few ways to begin. Number one, speak to her out loud. You will be surprised how powerful it is to say, little me, I see you. Try it now. Try it. Say little me and put your name. Don't say little me. Say little Quita, little Kenosha, or little Misty, I see you. Say it right now. Little, you ain't got to put it in the comments. Just say it to yourself. Little Misty, I see you. Huh? I want you to try this. Stand in the mirror, look into your own eyes, and say something like, I'm sorry I made you feel invisible. You matter. I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere. This is you talking to you. I'm sorry they made you feel invisible. You matter. I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere. Another way to reparent yourself is to write to her. I know a lot of people like to journal. I want you to start a journal dedicated to your inner child. Let her write freely and respond from your adult self. Ask questions like, what do you need from me today? Could you imagine opening up your journal when you have your morning breakfast, coffee break, or whatever the case may be, and writing and asking the little you, what do you need from me today? Or ask questions like, where do you feel scared? Or what would make you feel safe right now, right? So start journaling to yourself. And again, this is all in the book, so you go ahead and get the book and read this for yourself and start working on it. Number three is create safety. When you were little, you may have lacked predictability, right? That chaos, listen, you lack predictability, right? That chaos becomes addictive. Now your job is to create a life of peace and emotional safety. I want you to build routines, protect your energy, avoid people who drain you. I'm saying this again. Build routines, protect your energy, avoid people who drain you. See, peace might feel boring at first, and that's okay. I want you to keep choosing it anyway. Number four, set boundaries. All right, y'all. We're gonna try this flash goal again. We're gonna try this flash goal again. Here we go. We're going to try this flash goal again. All right, y'all. We're looking for 9 more people, 9 new gifters to go ahead and hit that heart me so we can hit our flash goal for today's live. Number three, we talk about creating safety. Number four is to set boundaries, not as a punishment, but as protection. See, the little girl in you needs to know that you've got her, that you won't let people violate her anymore. Every time you say no, you say, I'm not abandoning myself for approval. So set boundaries. I always tell people pick a number 1 through 30. Thank you so much. Pick a number 1 through 30. Pick a number 1 through 30. Go ahead and pick the number. You can put it in the comments or keep it to yourself. You can put it in the comments or keep it to yourself. Pick a number 1 through 30. Whatever your number is, that's the day of the month. Starting next month, that'll be your day of no. Good morning. That'll be your day of no. You say no to everything, even things that you can do is a no. The only people that you can't turn down are people that like fully depend on you, like little ones who can't feed themselves, or if you're taking care of an elderly parent who can't do for themselves, then yes, you gotta feed and do them. But other stuff, it's a no. Things that are outside of their basic care, no. And it's not about being mean, it's about reclaiming your energy. Speaking of reclaiming energy, the fifth thing that you can do to reparent yourself is reclaim joy. Huh? Reclaim joy. So answer this question. What did you love as a child before the world told you to grow up and get over it? When people ask me, I need to know my purpose. What's my purpose? What's my purpose? I always tell them, go back to your early childhood, the earliest you can remember, and tell me what you love to do. And they be, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people, some people do it, especially when they ask me about their purpose and how they gonna make money and what they're supposed to be doing. And they be like, I don't know. They always tell me, I like to travel. I said, when you were 7 years old, you didn't give a fuck about traveling. Please. You thinking about how to make money now. Reclaim your joy. Right? So I want you to put in the comments, what did you love as a child before the world told you to grow up and get over it? Now, I love teaching. I've always taught kids. I used to get kids. I used to open up my grandmother's garage, use the workbooks that my parents bought me to practice in the summertime, and go gather all the kids. I would walk up and down the street and gather all the kids that were younger than me, bring them to my grandmother's garage, have my grandmother cut up apples and oranges. I would always make sure they ate, and I would teach them. I would teach those kids from 9 a.m. to 11. I was a child myself. I was no more than 10 years old, going to get all of the kids in on my grandmother's street. And I would teach them in the garage from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And when I got back to doing what I would listen, it was strict on their ass too. You're going to learn how to add today, Mikey. And it's crazy because a lot of the kids that I did this for, they're grown. All of them are grown now. And these adults who have families of their own and have went on to college or had careers, they said, do you know I remember you coming to get me to teach me in the garage? Like I did, like I remember that. Like you taught me how to add, or you taught me multiplication, and you was just a kid yourself. Because now that we all grown, they be like, yo, you was really only like 3 years older than me, but you came and got me, and you did. And they said I would be. They said they would be up in the summertime, ready, waiting on me to come down the street and pick them up. So once I got back to that, teaching people the way I wanted to teach them, I used to be a school teacher. I used to be a school teacher. I said the state of Texas was hard up, baby. The state of Texas was hard up to hire my ass to let me get certified to be teach any goddamn thing, teach anybody children, right? I liked it, but I couldn't teach the people the way I wanted to be a teacher. So when I left there and I went to go work at a transit authority and I was a supervisor and then I became a trainer. And I was like, okay, I can train adults a little differently, right? But it wasn't until I fully stepped outside of everybody, of corporate America, and built my own thing, became my own employer, right? And started teaching people was when I really found joy. And when you reclaim your joy, the money will come. Money is attached to joy. Huh? People think they need, listen, we're looking for 8 more people to send this heart right here. People assume that money will bring them happiness. Happiness brings you money. Money don't bring you joy. Money is just money. Money is what happens when you have joy. When you have peace, joy, knowledge, understanding, and clarity, the money will come. Anything you want to come. Thank you so much, C. Gambino. And I got your text message. I appreciate you. We need 7 more people to go ahead and send that. So reclaim joy, right? Did you dance, paint, ride a bike, watch cartoons? I want you to give that little girl some of her light back. Thanks, Kenosha. She deserves to laugh again. I'm going to say this and say that, and I want you to understand this. You do not need permission to heal. You don't need permission to heal. Huh? Maybe you was never told that before, so let me say it here. You are allowed to give yourself what no one else gave you. You're allowed to feel sad for that little girl who waited and the woman who still wonders, what if he had stayed? You are allowed to grieve now, cry and create new joy. You are allowed to acknowledge the loss and rewrite the story. You don't need your father's permission to evolve. You don't need your, listen, you don't need your family's understanding to break the cycle. You don't need your past to approve your progress. You are your own healer now. your own protector, your own parent. And that, my friend, changes everything. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and read. We're going to go over the lesson. And then I think either I'm just going to do the lesson and we'll go to No Father, No God, but Still a King, because chapter 7 is breaking the cycle. So let's do the lesson and we'll save chapter 7 for and I'm going to come live on Thanksgiving. We'll save chapter 7 for Thanksgiving. Y'all doing y'all cooking today? Hype, what y'all doing today? What y'all got going on today? Huh? All right. Mm. So let's get into it. Welcome to lesson number 4, reparenting and reclaiming softness. Y'all, this is the last lesson for Daddy's Little Girl. This is a boot camp that I previously presented, a private boot camp that I presented. And I'm giving it to, God told me to give it away for free. So here we are. In this lesson, we're going to discuss how to nurture your inner child with adult love, boundaries without guilt, feminine identity without trauma. Say this again, feminine identity without trauma. And we're going to do the Healed Daughters Declaration. All right. I want to say this to say that you don't have to be hard to be whole. Hmm? You don't have to be hard to be whole. You said you got to work today, Erica? All right. Let's get into it. So this is our final lesson together in this journey. Huh? This is our final lesson together in this journey, but it's also the beginning of a new story. So before we begin, I want you to place your hand over your heart. Let's breathe in. Let's do a breathing exercise. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. All right. Again, before we begin, place your hand on your heart and say this out loud. Little me, I see you. I choose you and I will never leave you again. I'm going to repeat it so y'all can say this after that. Ready? Little me, I see you. I choose you and I will never leave you again. All right? Let's talk about becoming the woman that you always needed. All right. So, we're going to talk about now how to nurture your inner child with adult love. Reparenting yourself. Let me say that. Reparenting yourself is not about getting the apology you was always looking for. Reparenting yourself has nothing to do with confronting a parent that was absent, whether it was your mother, your father, or both. It's not about writing letters and mailing it to them. This is about taking the things that you've learned in your adult life. This is about turning that whole era of protection where you protected everybody else and left yourself vulnerable. This is really about helping you first before you help other people. This is about helping the little girl inside of you before you help somebody in your house. Because if you heal a little girl inside of you, then everybody else in the house will catch your overflow. All right, y'all. So hold on. We got somebody on YouTube. I was trying to ignore them, but we have somebody on YouTube that's doing the All American Most. So you know what? I'm gonna let them stay because they need to hear it. Obviously, they have daddy issues, probably mommy issues as well. So I'm not gonna block you. I'm gonna go ahead and let you hear this because I'm pretty sure you need help. if you up, if you up that early in the fucking morning, you need help. Okay, please. Let's get into it. I want you, I'm gonna say this to say this. Say this to say that. This book, this moment, I'm not here to relive the wound. You hear me? I am not here to relive the wound. We are here to rewrite how we show up for ourselves now. We are not here to relive the wound. Yesterday, when I was on live and we were talking about fathers not being in the house and how we're dealing with masculine mothers and fathers. And I know we had someone who came in alive and she was like, yeah, we need to talk about it. It goes all the way back to it goes all the way back to what they say, it goes all the way back to hit a slavery history. And I'm not here to talk about slavery. I'm right. I said that's the problem. And this is my opinion. I said the problem with our race, with our society is that we steadily keep going back and doing all this other stuff, right? We steadily keep going back and talking about like what are we doing now? We could debate slavery. Hold on one second. Hold on, let me block this bitch. Hold on. All right, we done. Thank y'all for being patient. Thank you, Lopez. I appreciate you. It's okay. Um, they're blocked. Jesus Christ. People are weirdos. Y'all, this online shit ain't for the faint of heart. People are real live ass weirdos. And the only reason is like when I'm doing certain things, talking about stuff like normally, if this was like not this coaching program, the Coach Misty effect, I would have got with that person real quick. But I don't know, it's just really, I don't know, it's just really weird. But let's get into it. Let's talk about reparenting, right? Here's the deal. Reparenting means that you become the safe space you never had. This is what this is. It's very simple. Reparenting means you become the safe space you never had. It means you validate your own emotions. You comfort yourself without needing chaos. And you respond with compassion and not criticism. This is what reparenting means. All right. So here's a question to ask yourself and answer it in the comments if you don't mind. What did I need to hear when I was little? Think about it. Give me one thing in the comments. Everybody that's watching, what do you need to hear when I was little? I'll start off. One of the things that I needed to hear from my father is that it's not your fault. It's not your fault. The way my mother talked to me about the relationship she had with my father or the demise of the relationship was basically, oh, well, once I decided to have you, it went all down the hill. So one of the things that I needed to hear, do I hold on to that right now? But I'm just giving you an example, is that it's not your fault. If my father would have said, hey, listen, I can't come around because of whatever, but it's not your fault. I don't blame you for being born. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, so go ahead and answer that question. Right. What did you need to hear when you was little? Next one, how can you give that to yourself now? How can you give that to when you said so Cozy said I don't need to hear I'm worthy. How can you give that self can you give that to your head? Hold on one second. All right. So the thing is, how can you give that to yourself now in words, choices, habits, or rituals? What can you do? You said, tell myself that and show up by doing things I want for myself. Absolutely. I have released all fault. I have released all whatever from it, right? I no longer know it's not my fault. One of the things that I've done and I ask people to do all the time is that I want you to look at your parents as people and not as your parents. Look at your parents as people and not as your parents and kind of get put the story together. Now, I'm not going to go through it because I went through it on other videos. I'm not going to go through it right now. But when I really sat back as an adult and looked at how my father grew up and realizing that my father grew up without a father. And so when he became a father, it wasn't his choice to become a father, right? I mean, of course, yes, they did what they did unprotected or whatever the case may be, but that wasn't something that he planned to do. So when you lay down, understand women, when you choose to lay down with men and you risk of becoming pregnant, and when you lay down with men who never had a father, it's hard to your expectations. We can't expect them to come in and be father of the year when they never had a father themselves. They don't know how to. So my mother had a baby with a man who didn't want to be a father, let alone be her boyfriend in real life, right? And kind of tried to force a situation that was never going to be. So the only thing that my father knew how to do was because he was raised by a masculine mother, is that I'm going to provide. I'll pay child support, but I don't want to be bothered. Because if being bothered with the baby, being me bothered with you, I'll pass because I never had a connection with you in the first place. And I had to look at that story from the outside looking in, right? And try not to be upset with my father because how would I feel if I was in my mother's shoes? Right, and just look at it and just put it out on paper and think about it as if I was looking at something on TV and I was like, okay, that makes sense. I hate that I was in the middle of it, but it makes sense, right? All right, so I want to give you some examples of the ways, things that you can say to yourself is that I'm proud of you. Tell yourself, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm proud of you, right? Or say you didn't have to do anything to be loved, or just tell yourself you are allowed to rest. This is how you rewire love at the root. That's why I told you I want to get to the root of the problem. Once we get to the root of the problem, then we're going to go ahead and start working on the plan. All right? Any questions, concerns, or comments about that portion before we move on to boundaries without guilt? Thank you so much, Bling XP. Any questions, concerns, or comments before we move to boundaries without guilt? Have a great day. If not, let's go ahead and start. I want to clear something up right now. Let's clear something up right now. A boundary is not a punishment, it's protection. Say this again. Well, y'all, a lot of us don't want to set boundaries with our kids, our grown kids, or our parents because we feel like it's some type of punishment. No, a boundary is not a punishment, it is protection. Many of us were never taught how to say no without guilt, especially if we grew up performing for love. But here's what healthy boundaries sound like. I'm going to give you some examples. I'm not available for that. That doesn't work for me. I love you and I still need space. I just told my grown kids I needed a break. I told my grown kids, and this is the holiday season. Now I have one adult son that lives in Dallas, right? And lives in Dallas. And then my other kids live in Ohio and one lives in Michigan. I told my adult children I need a break. I need a break to after the new year. I have never went a holiday without either being around my kids, flying in, talking to them. I've never went a holiday without dealing with my children as adults. This year will be the first. And I have grandkids too. I need a break. I need a breather. I said, I love you, but I still need space. I want you to know that you do not need to justify your peace. You don't need to perform for your rest. You don't owe anyone access to your healing self. I want you to repeat after me. I am not responsible. Go ahead and say that. I'm sorry to hear that, cozy gal. I am not responsible for other people's comfort at the cost of my clarity. I'm saying it again. I am not responsible for other people's comfort at the cost of my own clarity. You understand that? Okay. Questions, concerns, or comments? We're going to talk about how to have a feminine identity without trauma. Women of color, come to the front. Black women over 40, come on. Black women over 40. Listen, as a child, we had to deal with a lot, baby. We was the ones to get the dial-up internet. Listen, we was taught a lot of patience. We had dial-up internet. If you had a big wheel with a front tire had a hole in it, baby, it would take you 30 minutes to get nowhere fast. Okay, listen, if you are over 40 years old, come to the front. 85 or better, come to the front. If your feminine identity was shaped by pain, you probably associate being soft with being unsafe. I'm going to say this again. If your feminine identity was shaped by pain, you probably associate being soft. Listen, you probably associate being soft with being unsafe. Maybe you learned that crying equals weakness. Expressing needs is equal to drama, and receiving love equals vulnerability, which also leads to risk. But I want you to know this: softness is not weakness, it is wisdom. Listen, thank you, Ethan. Softness is not weakness, it is wisdom. It's knowing when to hold, when to release, and when to rest. Feminine energy is intuitive, nurturing, and magnetic, not performative. You hear me? You don't have to compete. You don't have to chase. You don't have to earn your value. You are already enough, even in stillness. How many people got some rest today? Yesterday. Let me ask y'all a question. How many people got some rest yesterday? Raise your hand if you got some rest yesterday. If you got some rest, what did you do? If you got some rest yesterday, what did you do? What did you do? How did you rest? Not you. You didn't get no rest yesterday. If you got some rest today, what did that rest look like? Hmm? What did that rest look like yesterday? You said sleep. They said rest. What's that? That's crazy work. So you got some extra sleep. Uh, Women of color, we got to stop equating rest and sleep. We got to stop equating rest and sleep as the same shit. Yes, when you go to sleep, is your body rested? Yes. But I need y'all to stop equating rest and sleep as the same thing. Your body needs sleep. If your ass lay down and fell into a deep sleep, it's a huge difference. If you lay down and fell into a deep sleep, your body needed that. Listen, listen, listen. That's not resting. That's listen, no. When you're resting, right, if you're laying down, not just sleeping, you understand me? Reading a book, resting your fucking mind, blocking out people, doing absolutely positively the fuck nothing. That's rest. Taking time out for yourself is rest. Not just sleeping. We think like, oh girl, I got some rest. I took 2 naps today. No, your body recharged. You needed that. You can rest and not go to sleep. When you if you have a question on if you're truly resting or how resting looks for you, when you're resting and not sleepy, if you sit on the couch and you automatically go to sleep, you are exhausted. You're not getting rest. You're just trying to recharge. You can rest and read a book. Listen, listen. Little do you know, I'm resting right now. I'm chilling. I'm doing what I love. I'm doing what I love. I'm resting. I'm cool. People are like, damn, you be working. I don't. You know what be working me when I talk to y'all on the phone for appointments. That works my fucking nerves. You want to work me? Get your hoes on. Hello, never mind. Really back in, bitch. It's too early in the morning. It ain't even 5 a.m. We won't be calling nobody hoes between the hours of 3 and 5. When I have y'all on the phone and y'all do these spiritual sessions with me, that's I don't care if I am laying down. That be work. This to me right here is resting because I have control. I'm doing what I want to do. Baby, sometimes talking to y'all takes me down to the ground. People be like, Coach, what you doing? I'm like laying down. They like, girl, you get your rest. Not talking to your crack. Never mind. Nope, too early. Can't be calling them that either. I got to set a new set of rules. No, this, that, and the other. It's too early in the morning to be calling people names. But at 5:01, that's your ass. All right. I want to say this to say that. Let me hold on. Let me see. I think I might read the breakthrough chapter. Chapter 7, let me see. Chapter 7 is breaking the cycle. How many chapters we got in here? You know what? I'm not. If you want to read chapter 7 and ooh, y'all need to do chapter 8, loving without lack. You hoes need that. All right, so I'm gonna skip over chapter 7. I'm gonna skip over chapter 7. You can read it yourself once you get your book. But we gonna before we do the final ritual, well, I'm gonna talk about how to love without lack. I'm gonna talk about how to love without lack. We're gonna talk about how to receive without begging, chase without losing yourself, and love without sacrificing your soul. Look at my face. I'm serious. Now, I always give you a little rat-a-tat-tat. You ready? You are not crazy. Good, some of y'all are. But most of y'all, listen, you are not crazy for asking someone to love you. You're not crazy for asking that person how they feel about you. You are not crazy for being 50 years old and missing your dad. You are not crazy. You are not. You are not asking for too much. And you are not doomed to repeat the same relationship over and over. But if you are used to loving from lack, you know what? I'm lying. I'm gonna stop right here. Boop, pause. Because that's a whole lesson within itself. Loving without lack, that needs to be that's a whole video. So boop, I'm gonna put a pin in it. Put a pin in it. Let's go ahead and switch gears and let's go to any questions about what we talked about so far on how to reparent yourself. If you missed the class, don't worry about it. It's on YouTube. Go to I'm Coach Misty YouTube and click my live replays and you'll catch the class. This loving without lack, that's a whole new video within itself. Because that right there is something different. So, do you have any questions on how to reparent ourselves? Because if not, guess what we about to do? We about to switch gears and go to no father, no God, but still a king. Yeah, because baby, loving without lack, that's a whole nother video. So if not, guess what? Now it's time to switch over. I'm going to teach to the men and the mothers of boys and the mother of men. So welcome in. Let's go ahead and reset the room. My name is Coach Misty, and this is what? No father, no God, but still a king. This right here information, you can still go on, click the link in my bio or go right here, boop, 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 and go ahead and download this book. You can download the one for the fathers, the one for the men, the one for the mothers, the women, how to make 5K in 30 days, all of that. So all of my ebooks, you can click the link where you see this picture at and go ahead and get all the ebooks. Now, where my men at? Where my men at? Good morning to all my kings. Where my kings at? Where my kings at? Listen, even if you ain't where you want to be, you still a king. Where my kings at? Baby, this book, y'all, this book had y'all in the chokehold. You said, so that's why I never felt like a grown woman because I haven't healed the little girl inside of me. Absolutely. When you lash out, when people say you doing childish shit, 9 times out of 10, it is childish because the little girl in you is lashing out. The little girl in you is spazzing out. Yeah. So when you hit a little girl in you, certain shit you just won't do. All that arguing and fussing and all that stuff, that's crazy. All right. So here's the deal. Now, yes, the other book that I'm about to do, No Father, No God, but Still a King, I wrote it to me and it's my love letter to men of color, right? But when I read the book, I read it also so the women can take account. I read it for everybody. So we are going to be in chapter 6. We're going to switch gears and go to chapter 6. No father, no God, but still a king. Chapter 6 says your ego is in love is armor. This chapter can actually be towards masculine women. So understand, I'm reading this. If you are a masculine woman, I don't mean as far as your sexuality. I mean as far as your spirit, your personality, or the trauma that you have said is personality. If you have masculine triggers, if you are a provider and a protector because you didn't have one, this is for you. You ready? Let's get into it. Chapter 6 of No Father, No God, but Still a King. Your ego is in love, it's armor. Hmm? Your ego is in love, it's armor. Let's talk about it. We're about to discuss the defense mechanism that begin masquerading as confidence. Get your pen and paper, because bitch, we about to go to school. I want to say this. You think you protecting yourself. You think you're being wise. You think that you're just not going to get played. So you put walls up. You move smart. You won't let anyone get too close. You control the narrative. If this is you, say ouch. If I'm stepping on your toes this morning, say ouch. You say what you have to say to keep your advantage, and you call it love. You call it leadership. For the men, you call it being a man. Man, for the women, you call it being a boss. But what you're really doing is leading with your ego, not your heart. Ego doesn't create love, it creates control. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what the ego is. Baby, I want to get comfortable. Baby, I need to give me a different chair. The way, is this my, no, this ain't my big chair. Baby, I need to get my other chair up in here because the way I want to curl up in this chair, I want to throw my leg over this arm and get with it. Let's talk about what ego really is. You ready? The ego is the version of you that was built to survive. Listen, the ego is the version of you that was built to survive. It is not the real you, it's the defended you. Your ego is not the real you, it's the defended you. It's the voice that says, I got it. I don't need help. Ain't nobody about to play me. They'll regret losing me. And this person is bad. This person better match my energy. That's your ego talking. Beyonce had y'all fucked up with the song "Got a Big Ego." Y'all like, yeah, I got a big ego. That's me. No, that your ego is why you're single. Your ego is why you're single. Yeah, it's your ego. I want to say this. Ego doesn't operate from healing, it operates from hurt. Ego is the armor you put on because somewhere, somehow, somebody made you feel like you were not enough without it. Maybe it's when your father left. Maybe your mother didn't nurture you, right? Or maybe it's the ex who betrayed you, right? Or maybe it's your friends who laughed when you opened up. So you told yourself never again. And that moment was the birth of ego. Oh yeah. Let's talk about it. What day did what's your ego birthday? What's your ego birthday? What is the day where you said they got me fucked up? That's your ego talking. When you operate from there, that's trigger, that's trauma. When you say they got me fucked up, your ego has came into play. You are no longer, Coach Misty is no longer here. Dirty Red from 116th that showed up. My ego is here. Huh? So don't nobody have an ego. They don't know what year their ego showed up, or when's the last time your ego showed up, huh? Now let me help debunk something for you. Ego looks like confidence, but it's not. Come on, somebody. Ego looks like confidence, but it's not. There's a difference between confidence and ego. Thank you. Thank you, Kira. There's a difference between confidence and ego. Confidence says, I know my value. Ego says, I need to prove you, I need you to prove you to see it. I need you to prove you to see it too. Right? Confidence is secure, ego is performative. Confidence connects, ego controls. If you are always trying to, here we go, listen. If you are always trying to one up, dominate, win, or test people to prove their loyalty, that's not confidence. That's fear. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna say this again. If you're always trying to one up, dominate, win, or test people to prove their loyalty, that's fear. That's pain in disguise. That's your inner child putting on a grown man mask, hoping nobody notices that he's still too scared to be seen. This is deep. Now I'm about to really step on y'all toes. Let's talk about why your ego ruins relationships. Huh? Why your ego ruins relationships. First of all, ego will make you ruin something real just to feel like you in control. How many people can self-sabotage some shit? How many of y'all have ended a situation that wasn't even because you felt yourself losing control because you was falling in love. You felt yourself losing control because you was falling, your ego was slipping away and you was actually being vulnerable. So you ruined the situation in order to get back into control. You risk losing that person. You risk losing a person who was helping you heal and making you feel whole and feel loved just so you could take back control and be by yourself. That's the craziest. I've done it. Let me raise my hand up. Me. That's why I wrote the book. Me, right? Ego will make you ruin something. Listen, just to feel like you are in control. And here's how it plays out. You can't say I miss you, so you ghost and hope that they notice. Huh? Now this is for the men. When men can't say I miss you because they feel like they so when a man can't tell you he miss you, he gonna ghost you and hope you notice. He really miss you. Huh? When a man or a strong or a masculine woman says I would can't say I was wrong, so they double down until you give up. Men do that all the time. If a man won't say they wrong, they can't say, "Oh, I was wrong," so they double down until you give up. Sometimes you withhold affection, not because you don't feel it, but because you want to punish them. You ever had somebody, baby, one of the worst ones in the world? I had an ex that did this shit. He did this shit a couple times, and I said, "Hey, once I realized what was happening, you got me. You know what? I had an ex that would intentionally withhold compliments from me because he said that I had too. He said, you already get enough compliments. He said, your head too big anyway. We had talked about it. He said, your head too big anyway. You already get a lot of compliments. Everybody online, ooh, Coach Misty this, Coach Misty that. This man would see me get dressed. He would withhold compliments. He would stop himself from saying, hey, you look cute, you look nice, or whatever, because he felt like you get it from everywhere. I'm not going to do that. What? Are you well? Yes. I said, you got it. That shit didn't last long. Listen, here's another way that your ego ruins your relationships. You measure love by how much someone chases you, not how safe you feel together. You measure love by how much someone chases you and not how safe you feel together. You also test loyalty with dysfunction and not consistency. I want you to know that this is not power. That's emotional immaturity wearing cologne and designer. And if you're honest, it's exhausting because you are always performing, always pretending, and always protecting a heart that just wants to be held. Now, any questions before we go on? Let's talk about where did your ego come from? Where did it come from? The root of the ego is always pain. I'm going to say this again. The root of the ego is always pain. The pain of not being chosen, the pain of feeling disrespected, the pain of being overlooked, the pain of being emotionally vulnerable and not having it reciprocated, the pain of being the strong one when you didn't even want to be strong. And instead of processing that pain, You buried it under masculinity. That goes for men and women. I'm going to say this again. Men and women, if you were never chosen, if your father didn't choose you, if your mother didn't choose you, if the first love of your life didn't choose you, maybe your grandmother liked your brothers more than she liked you, right? Your ego comes into play. If you've ever been disrespected, maybe you had kids young and people talked about you, or maybe as a young man, your mother didn't have a lot to feed you and clothe you, so you didn't have the best of the best, and people made fun of you. Your ego showed up. Your ego said, "We'll never have this. Will never happen when we become adults," and the wall is being built, whether you know it or not. If you have been overlooked, whatever it is, the pain of being overlooked, the ego shows up, right? If you are ready to be emotionally vulnerable with somebody and they don't do it, listen, there's nothing worse than a man's first love letting him down. If y'all want to listen, if y'all have an opportunity to talk to some of y'all exes now that the relationship is over, ask them about their first love. Ask them what happened. Most men that have an ego or who are emotionally unavailable, a lot of times outside of not having a father, does something happen when they was teenagers with they first love and they never got over that shit. Baby, they never got over it. They tried to express how they feel to a girl. Either the girl didn't reciprocate it or they found the girl was sleeping with their friend or whatever the case may be. Oh, baby, toe them down for life. Okay? Listen. Or you have the pain of being the strong one when you didn't even want to be strong. Right? Yeah. Right. So all of that gets buried under masculinity, whether you're male or female. You learn to walk like you were good even when your soul was empty. You got money, sex, attention, but still felt hollow because the ego wins followers but never builds intimacy. Listen to me. The ego wins followers but never builds intimacy. The ego wins arguments but loses connection. And eventually you become the king or queen of nothing. Take a sip. So y'all ain't got no questions for me. Ain't nobody got no questions for me. Y'all getting what I'm putting. Y'all taking in what I'm putting down. I just need to know. Joe said, I need to know what turns you on. I need to know. Huh? So Princess, the only one in the comments over here. I like to know. That's what Joe said. I don't want to be reading just to be reading. I could save my voice for something else. I could take my big ass to sleep. Okay. Love Lady B said, I'm with you. Okay, when you with me, you with me. All right. Okay, spot on. Keith said spot on. Okay, I'm just making sure. Let's talk about ego and emotion. Let's talk about why ego and emotions don't mix. I want to get something clear. Ego hates emotion. Did you hear what I said? Ego hates emotion. I'm going to say it one more time. Ego hates emotion. So the moment you feel something real, whether it's love, fear, desire, or grief, your ego steps in to shut it down. Your ego steps in to shut it down. You feel vulnerable, you're going to pull back. You feel exposed, you make a joke. You feel emotional, you start a fight. You feel safe, you sabotage it. Because your ego believes that emotions equal danger. And why is that? I'll tell you. Because the first time you feel deeply, you got hurt. I need my fucking braces on. I need my braces on. I'm gonna say this again. Why? Because the first time you feel deeply, you got hurt. You loved someone who left. You trusted someone who lied. You cried in front of someone who called you weak. And so now emotion feels like a trap. But I'm gonna lay the truth on you. Emotion is the bridge to real love. Listen, emotion is the bridge to real love. And if you don't cross it, you'll never fully arrive in your relationships or your own life. Okay? Now, let's talk about now. Okay, now y'all know I've been giving y'all this information for male and female, even though this is I'm reading from the male center book, which is No Father, No God, but Still a King. So now I want to talk directly to men and the women while you're here listening. If you have run into this type of man or you recognize some of these traits in your sons, let me know in the comments. Let's talk about what an ego-driven man looks like. Okay, let's talk about what an ego driven man, ego, not evil, ego driven man looks like. Number one, he is not a monster. He's not. He is not a monster. He is not a player. Women, this your favorite word. He's not a narcissist. Baby, y'all quick to call somebody a narcissist. He's not a narcissist, he's just hurt. And that hurt shows up as constant need to prove that he's right, avoidance of emotional conversations, thinking softness is weakness, confusing, confusing control with leadership, dismissing women's emotions, needing to always have the last word, refusing to ask for help, and chasing admiration instead of intimacy. Okay? He might be successful, he might be respected, he might have options, but he's also lonely because people love his image and not him. I'm saying this again. People love his image and not him. And deep down, he knows it. Hmm? And deep down, he knows it. So Anthony over here said, yeah, it's good to feel, and crying cleanses the soul, and holding your emotions in can cause cancer. I know from experience. Anthony, thank you for sharing that. Listen, I'm going to talk to you now about how healing the ego starts with humility. Men and women, listen up. Healing the ego starts with humility. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's talk about it. The only thing that heals the ego is humility, not weakness, not self hate, but the strength to say, I don't have it all figured out yet. I'm scared to be loved for real. I've been protecting myself with pride, and I need to learn a new way. That honesty is terrifying, but it's also the beginning of peace. Because when you drop the armor, you stop performing, you stop testing, you stop trying to win love. You just receive it. And that is the real flex. Now, let's go ahead and look at what love looks like without ego. It's not silent treatment, it's conversation. It's not control, it's communication. It's not testing loyalty, it's building trust. It's not power struggles, it's partnership. It's not prove you love me, it's thank you for loving me. See, without ego, you stop chasing dominance and you start cultivating depth. Without ego, you stop fearing vulnerability. You start respecting it. Without ego, you don't lose your masculinity, you expand it. Because a real man doesn't lead with fear, he leads with presence. Here are the steps to drop the armor. Thank you for the gifts. Here are the steps to drop the armor. Number one, catch your ego in the act. Y'all, let me, I'm gonna be honest with y'all and be very transparent. My ego showed up. My ego got up the ego. My ego showed up today. My ego showed up and showed out. My ego was on one today. I'm not gonna go back into the story I told the last, when I was doing the readings, I told them what happened. But and it wasn't the act. My ego showed up when I shut down, when I stopped talking. It's not that I stopped talking because I needed to regroup. I stopped talking as a form of punishment, or like I'm just not gonna talk to you. I'm about to give you the silent treatment. That was my ego. That wasn't healthy. That wasn't me using my emotional intelligence. That was none of that. That was strictly ego. That was, you know what? I'm gonna show you something. I ain't gonna talk to you. How about that? And here's the deal: in relationships, you don't punish each other. Neither one of y'all are kids. I ain't gonna say my inner child, but god damn it, teenage Misty showed up. Huh? It might not have been little Misty, but teenage Misty. You got baby Jesus and then teenage Jesus and then Jesus. Well, teenage Misty showed up today. Cause I shut down, and it wasn't like, oh, I can't say nothing. If I say something, I don't know what I'm gonna say. No, I didn't shut down to protect myself or others. I shut down to be an asshole. That's the ego showing up. Hmm? So, step number one is you have to catch your ego in the act. Notice when you're performing, huh? So, ask yourself this question: are you acting distance to protect your pride? Are you posting something online to get a reaction? That's your ego. Are you holding back I love you to keep control? Call it what it is. Don't judge it, just own it. Step number two, practice saying what you feel, not what sounds cool. Ego says, I'm good. Your heart says, I'm scared. Ego says, whatever. Your soul says, that hurt me. Speak the truth out loud, even if your voice shakes. You hear that, Regina? Speak your truth out loud, even if your voice shakes. Right? Number three, apologize without explaining. Ego wants to defend, healing wants to repair. Practice saying, I was wrong. I see how I hurt you. I'm sorry. No but, no conditions, just presence. And number four, stop performing for the applause. The question is, are you living for validation or living in alignment? Which one is it? Are you living in validation or living for alignment? I want you to do what honors your peace and not what gets attention. All right? All right. So I am going to, you know what, I'm actually, so we're going to do this section and then I'm going to do a temperature check. We're going to talk about the man beneath the armor. If you are not, when I was reading off the characteristics of a man who has dealing with his ego, when his ego has taken control, some of y'all was like, "Oh, that's my husband," you know, "Oh, that's my brother, that's my son," whatever. However, right? Y'all was in the comments identifying that. I don't want you to give up on these people. Don't give up on these men. Don't give up on your husband. You know, if that's the problem, you know, if he has childhood trauma, listen, don't give up. Listen, don't give up on your husband. Don't give up on your brother. Don't give up, you know, because guess what? There is a man beneath all that armor. The man beneath the armor, he's still there, right? Listen, the boy who just wanted to be seen, the young man who wanted to be enough, the lover who wants to be fully chosen, the leader who wants to love from a whole heart. That man, he doesn't need ego to be powerful. He just needs to be free. And freedom starts when that man says, I'm done hiding behind my pain. Because when love shows up, it shouldn't have to fight the defenses to reach your heart. Let love in, King. You are safe now. So, somebody had a question. You said you met two men from the DR and they told you they love you already. What did you say? Let me tell you how I feel about the word love. First of all, there's two loves. Before I let me get that thought out, and then I'm gonna see what y'all want me to do. First of all, there are two loves. Okay, that's what I'm saying. There's two loves. There is I love you, I'm in love with you, or I love you. I can tell each one of y'all. I could go down the thing and say, Looker, I love you. Lady Love B, I love you. Princess, I love you. Right? I can go down here and tell everybody I love them. You know why? Because I do love you. Right? I do. Not to say I'm in love with you, that's something totally different. That's something totally different, right? But yeah, I love you. Yeah, I love you. And let them know I'm not in love with you. That might come, but I love you. As a person, I love you. I can tell everybody. God had put it on my heart a couple years ago that everybody I talk to tell them I love them. Because God said you never know the last time a person, I mean, when is the last time a person ever told you that they love you? Right? As a grown woman, one day I was like, Dad, when the last time somebody told me they loved me? I wasn't in a relationship, right? So I was like, I started telling people I love them every day. Hey, I love you. I tell my kids, my grown kids, when I talk to them, I love you. My grandbabies, I love you. Cardinal, I love you. Huh? Hey, love you. I just want you to know that, right? Just want you to know that. All right, y'all. So, would y'all like me to go ahead and read chapter 7 from No Father, No God, but Still a King? If you're just now joining, my name is Coach Misty. I am an author, certified life coach. Okay, I should say I'm a life hack consultant, and I'm here to help you heal in 365 days. Regina, you say my son lives in a scarcity mindset. Regina, your son lives in scarcity with you. Everything your son was taught by you. So change yourself and change your son. Okay? Who? Okay. All of the books that I'm reading from are available on this site right here. Or click the link in my bio and just click on the first link, and you go ahead and download the books. Who wants me to read chapter 7, The Weight of Being Unfathered? If I get like 10 yeses, we'll go ahead and do it. Chapter 7 in No Father, No God, but Still a King is the weight of being unfathered. I got one yes. Let me eat a cookie. We got one yes. Two, three, four, five. I got five of them. Six, seven, eight, nine. I need one more after Erica. There we go. Let's talk about the way to being. Let's talk about when the men we love were forced to be a man before they was a boy. Oh, where my hey, we about to get into it. Hmm? Let's talk about it. Men, if you all here and you want to jump on the live and talk about it, let's talk about it. Let's talk about when you were forced to be a man before you were a boy. Mothers of listen, boy moms, listen up. And if I'm describing how you are with your sons, go ahead and identify yourself in the comments and say that's me. Again, I wrote this book. This is really a love letter to my father who wasn't there. This is for me to say I see you and I acknowledge you. This is also a love letter to my sons because I raised my sons in the masculine. Hey, I had to raise my kids damn near by myself. So guess what? I raised them. I was trying to be mom and dad. I didn't realize the damage I had done until they were older. And I did my best to try to not even repair it, but just make it right, to acknowledge like, hey, I wasn't, listen, I need to love on you. I'm your mother. I can't be your mother and your father. I can't, you know what I'm saying? Luckily, their father is in their lives and around and, doing things. But I was trying to be that everyday mother and father role, and it didn't work out for me. Okay? So let's talk about it. Well, let me just cookie first. Thank you, 704 Puerto Rican Mommy, for inviting them. There's a certain weight that comes with being unfathered. Hmm? Yeah. This is for male or female. There's a certain weight that comes with being unfathered. And it's not always loud, it's not always obvious, but it's always there. It shows up in the decisions you make, the way you carry yourself, the way you love, the way you doubt, the way you trust no one, not even yourself sometimes. Nobody sees it when they're clapping for your accomplishments. Nobody talks about it when you're buying the drinks, paying the bills, or holding your family down. But that weight, that feeling of always having to figure it out alone, that's the legacy of being raised without a guide. Come on, somebody. Come on. Huh? How many people have ever thought about their brothers who was raised without a father? He might be married, have kids, and doing it. He had to do this on his own. Hmm? You were forced to lead with no map. Jesus. I'm going to say this again. Man of color, I see you. You were forced to lead with no map, to fight without armor, to love without a model, to become a man without ever having the chance to be a boy. Say, spray. I don't even know what where's my black magic mist? What? Let me spray myself, baby. This girl is on fire. Alicia Keys, listen. Huh? Hello? Listen, you were forced to lead with no map, to fight without armor, to love without a model, to become a man without ever having the chance to be a boy. And that's not just hard, it is heavy. Listen, if you were raised without your father, you stepped into manhood too early. Come on, somebody. Mother, stop sitting up here talking about he the man of the house. That's mommy's little man. That is your son. That is your child. Let's get into it. Let's go back. Huh? Question. And some of the women in here that have masculine characteristics, y'all can answer this too. Question for the people that's watching. How old were you? Listen. Listen, yeah, I mean it can, but you still didn't have no guide. You got to make decisions on your own, right? So Duran said, even without a map, could my internal compass or DNA be my best guide? Let me say this to say that. When you don't have a father, when you don't have a map, a guide on how to be the best man you can be, 9 times out of 10, it was implanted. Either you had examples in your family or it was implanted into your mother, taught you how to be everything that your father wasn't. And you kind of picked up things along the way. As a woman, so when I wrote this book, I actually interviewed men. I interviewed half. I had my study, my test group, test subjects. Half of them grew up with a dad, and half of them didn't. Right. So the thing about it is, the men who grew up without a father, they had to try twice as hard to get it right because they really just trying to figure it out. They picked up, and now we talked about this earlier in the book, where they picked up their behaviors from family members, distant family members, people on the street, people like they kind of piece things together. Maybe their homeboy had a father that was pretty cool. Maybe it was a football coach, and they had to kind of just they kind of piece this together. Whereas men who had a father in the home, who had an active father in the home, it wasn't that hard for them. It came a lot natural, right? But let's talk about it. Let's talk about when you stepped into manhood too early. Question: how old were you? Listen, Listen, how old were you when you started protecting your mother? Answer that question. How old were you when you started protecting your mother? And everybody, how old were you when you started protecting your mother? How old were you when you looked sideways at somebody when they said something crazy to your mother, even though you are the child and that's the adult? How old are you when you started looking side? He said, what about the village? Think about it. You said, what about the village? Community showed me examples I can pick and choose, but that's still different from being your father. That's still different. That's still different. That's not, right? You got to pick and choose as a child. You have to pick and choose. You don't have the mindset you don't have the the emotional intelligence to do that. So now you're putting things together. Whereas if your father's in the household, you're going to follow after him. It's a blueprint right then and there. You don't have to go seeking guidance because guidance is there. Second question. Listen, second question. How old were you when you started watching your younger siblings? Everybody answer that question. How old were you when you started watching your younger siblings? Huh? A lot of us stepped into adulthood. If your father was in a home but passive, your daddy, you still got father wounds. Hmm? Okay, Duran said they the baby. That's fine. For people who are not the youngest, how old were you when you started watching your younger siblings? Okay. How old were you when you stopped crying because nobody was listening? How old were you when you learned how to suck that shit up? It's 509. I can cuss now. How old were you when somebody told you to suck that shit up and you did? You stopped crying. Hmm? How old were you when that happened? When you stop crying, listen, we push our kids into adulthood without even realizing it. How old were you when you stopped crying because nobody was listening? Hmm. What? Listen. How old were you? Listen, how old were you when you told yourself, I got it because no one else did? How old were you when you told yourself, I got it because no one else did? Let me say this to say that. As being a mother with multiple children, let me tell you something. And I'm so grateful that my mother was so present in my children's lives when I was going to school and going to work and getting my degrees and all that stuff. Stop making these older children, listen, stop taking your oldest child, whether it's a boy or a girl, and making them, turning them into the second parent in the household, and then getting upset when that said child goes out and becomes sexually active early, or start experimenting with drugs and alcohol early, or you know what I'm saying, like don't get upset because you put them into an adult role when they were two. You stole their childhood. You stole their childhood. Huh? Stop making them watch your kids. Stop making them watch your kids. I remember one time I was going out, my homegirl wanted to go out. And I was like, girl, I can't go out. I ain't got no babysitter. She was like, girl, why don't you make Ian and Aaron watch their brother and sister? I said, it's one thing for them to watch. It's one thing for them to watch each other when they outside, stay together. I said, that's not their job. I did not have other kids. That's not their job to watch their brother and sister. You are not their mom or their daddy. They have to. So if I can't get an adult to watch all of them, then I'm not going. I'm not going. Right? Listen, you didn't get to have a childhood. You had a training camp. Huh? Listen, if you was able to answer 3 out of 4 of these questions, you didn't get to have a childhood. You had a training camp. And that training taught you don't show weakness. Handle it yourself. Don't ask for help. And stay strong no matter what. Hmm? But I want you to know that strength without softness is just a shield. I'm going to say this. Strength without softness is just a shield, and self reliance without safety becomes isolation. Listen, listen, strength without softness is just a shield, and self reliance without safety becomes isolation. So now you're 30, 40, and even 50 years old, and you still performing. Baby, you're still performing. You still carrying. You still pretending like it doesn't hurt to have no one to lean on. And that is the wound of being unfathered. Baby, I should hang up. I should hang up. Let me tell you something. When we're gonna talk about when no one showed you how to be, you became what you saw. Shit. Sh- Hey, hey, what you say? Shit. Where's Shay at? Shay Law. Shit. When no one showed you how to be, you became what you saw, male or female. Let's talk about it. Maybe your father left. Maybe he died. Maybe he was in the house but never present. And maybe you didn't even know who he was, right? And in his absence, something else raised you. The streets, the music, the boys on the block, the women who expected you to be what your father wasn't, the pressure to never end up like him. So you built yourself through trial and trauma, through mistakes and survival. You became the man you thought a man was supposed to be, even if it didn't feel right. Women too, because nobody taught you how to feel, only how to function. I don't think y'all ready for this shit. I'm gonna talk about the silent inheritance in his absence. Y'all listen, this book that y'all see right here on the screen, that's for Daddy's Little Girls. That's my book centered towards women that deals with fatherhood and abandonment. I'm actually reading from my other book, No Father, No God, but Still a King. This book is good for men and women to read, especially mothers of blacks and brown sons. And of course, give it to the men in your life. I need you to read this book. I encourage all women to read this book. If you are dealing with a man that was not, that was unfathered, and you trying to figure out some shit in your relationship or what's going on, if you have a co-parenting relationship that's going to hell in the handbasket because this motherfucker ain't never had no daddy, I need you to read this book so you can kind of understand this person. And I'm not telling you to forgive them, but show some grace and kind of how to work around it to come to a resolution. Let's talk about the silent inheritance of his absence. Even when he wasn't there, your father still left you something. Huh? Let's talk about it. Even if he wasn't there, your father still left you something. You know what he left you? He left you questions. This is for the men and women. He left you questions. He left you self doubt. He left you patterns of avoidance. He left you insecurities you had to silence with swag. He left you women you used as mirrors to prove you were lovable. He left you with silence and called it manhood. Now that's for the men. He left you with silence and called it manhood. And maybe the worst part, he left you with no example on how to lead your own family. He left you with no example on how to lead your own family. So now you love your kids, but you feel lost. I have a lot of men that are come in my life and be like, I ain't had no daddy, and I'm the best daddy that I can be. Right. But you lost. You still lost. You are determined not to be him, and you still lost. You doing it. You gonna make sure your kids don't grow up without a father, but you still need to be fathers yourself. Listen. You want to break the cycle, but you don't even know where to start. You try to be different but when stress hits, you start sounding just like the man you swore you never become. And that's not weakness, my friend. That's weight, and it's been on your back your entire life. I want you to know this, and this is to the Durans of the world. No one gave you your blueprint, but you still built something. Hmm? Listen, let me validate you, Duran. Let me validate you. We're not gonna get it twisted. You accomplished a lot. You survived. You have provided. You've grown. You've loved the best you could and did what you had to do. You are a damn miracle. And even miracles get tired. Because being the strong one every day, being the one everybody calls, being the example with no example of your own, being the protector when no one is protecting you, that's not manhood. That's being a martyr. And it's time to let it go. With Duran, I'm not gonna argue with you, baby. If you say DNA is your personal blueprint, you got it. Listen, listen. What I'm saying is I'm validating you. Yes, I'm validating you. Listen, you might not have had a blueprint in the house with you, but you still built something, right? Listen, no, I'm okay. Let's talk about the emotional toll of being unfathered. Let's talk about this. Now, we talked about the weight of being unfathered. Let's talk about the emotional toll. Here's what no one talks about: the boy inside you still misses him. Whether it's the boy or girl, the child inside you still misses your father. You can be 50 years old. The child inside you still misses him. You still want to know, why didn't you choose me? How many people want to know that? Let's be honest. Let's be real with each other. Huh? The only way to fix this is to be real. How many people still want to know why their father didn't choose them? Hmm? I got one person say, I do. Two people. Yup. Huh? How many people still want to know why? How many people, if you had a chance to ask your father today and get the honest to God truth, if you had a chance to say, Dad, why wasn't I enough for you to stay? Why wasn't I enough for you to stay for? What you ask? Why was I enough to stay for? Huh? Question number 3. What kind of man would I be if you had been here? Or what kind of woman, what kind of person would I be if you had stayed? Huh? Do you still want to know that? Do you wonder what would I did if I had a two-parent household? I told y'all that I was a teenage mother. Huh? So nice I did it twice. I had 2 kids by the time I was 18, four kids. Well, I had 5 kids, but 4 was living by the time I was 22. And I often wonder, even though I had an amazing stepdad, I had an amazing family, I had an amazing mom, right? Right? But I always used to wonder, like, would I have had these kids? And mind you, this was based off of conversations because everybody, when your teenage daughter gets pregnant, everybody wants to blame everybody in the family. Nobody wants to take accountability. Oh, my mother said it was my grandmother's fault because she let me have a boyfriend and go out. My grandmother said, oh, it's my mama's fault because she would leave me over there too much. Oh, then everybody wanted to blame my father for not being around. Oh, if Gary would have been involved in Misty's life, or she wouldn't have did that. Even though I had an amazing stepdad, and I'm glad my father wasn't around because my father is an asshole, right? Just an asshole by nature. And my stepdad is amazing. So I'm glad I got a chance to experience that. But everybody wanted to blame everybody else, right? Instead of just saying, hey, it just happened. She's a teenager. They did it. The condom broke. Here we are. Everybody wants to blame everybody else, right? So I used to wonder, even in my 20s, like, would I have had my kids if my father had been around? Would that have changed something? Would my father been the type of father to say, no, you can't have a boyfriend at 15 or 16? No, you can't go to the movies. My mother was kind of lenient when it went for me to dates, but I wasn't a bad kid. No, you can't go to the movies. No, you can't go visit your boyfriend on Christmas break. If my dad was in the house, right, would he have said that? My birth father, right? Because my stepdad kind of let my mom kind of make those type of decisions. And my mom was like, yeah, like be home by a certain time, whoop-de-doo. Also, how many people ever wonder if your father even thinks about you? I wonder, do my father even think about me? Hmm? Especially if your father went on to have kids, have another family. How many people ever wonder to this day, I wonder if my father ever thinks about me? I want you to know that grief, that is real. That anger is valid. And that ache, I want you to understand that it doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. And you don't need to pretend that you are over it. You don't need to keep proving that you're fine. You don't need to shut down every time Father Day rolls around. You can say that shit hurt. You are allowed to say that shit hurt. Huh? You are allowed to say that shit hurt and still be a man and stand on 10 toes and still be a woman and stand on 10 toes. You are allowed to say that shit hurt. You are allowed to say that shit hurt and still be powerful and still be respected because your healing starts with your honesty. It's okay. If you want to say it right now, you can say that shit hurt. I'm not asking you to relive your pain. I'm not asking you to open up no wounds. I just want you to be honest. See, a lot of times when we let time get in between the person, that did us wrong and how we feel, guess what? It is what it is. But it's okay to say that shit hurt, right? And not feel weak and not feel like, am I abandoned? It is what it is. Thank Princess says that shit hurt. All right. So let's talk about how to stop overcompensating for the man who didn't show up. How to stop overcompensating for the man who didn't show up. If you are watching this live and you're interested in getting either one of the books or other booking private coaching with me, please let us know. I have a couple mods in the comments and we'll help you. And I'm gonna show y'all where to go on my site. But let's talk about stop overcompensating for the man who didn't show up. I want to talk about truth. A lot of the pressure you carry today isn't yours, it's his. Black man, brown man. A lot of the pressure you carry today isn't yours, it's his. Woman of color. Even with this, a lot of the pressure you carry today isn't yours, it's his and it's your mother's. Men of color, you're overworking to prove you're not him. You're overachieving to prove you matter. Women of color, you overachieve and prove you matter. Huh? Both, everybody, you're overperforming to prove you're lovable. You're overcompensating in relationships, trying to be the provider, protector, and peace, all while falling apart inside. But proving is the same as being. And until you release the man who left, you'll keep trying to prove something to a ghost. Baby, listen. Listen, it wasn't until my ass was 29 years old in the first year of my doctorate program that I sat up and said, what the fuck am I doing? It wasn't until I was 29 years old in the first year of my doctorate program, doctorate in business, I sat up and said, what the fuck am I doing? And who am I doing this for? Huh? Who am I doing this for? I'm sitting up here collecting all kinds of student loans. Huh? I'm going to school full time and working, trying to raise 4 kids and be present, be overcompensating being present because their daddy was in prison. I'm trying to make sure the people in the church stop talking about me because, ma'am, I don't care how many kids I got. I got all these degrees. You're going to have to call me Dr. Misty. You're going to have to call me Dr. Scott. Now you're going to call me Dr. Scott. It wasn't until I got accepted into my doctorate program, was in my first class, and I was sitting at home and I said, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I getting all these degrees? Why do I want a doctorate in business? What am I going to do with a doctorate in business? I don't even, it was crazy. And I was just like, what? And then I stopped. And that was the first part of my unbecoming. You know why? Because I was all like, I'm a show. You know what? You know what I used to say? My father has two other children. My birth father has two other children, two boys. And even though I don't know too much about my brothers, right? And I don't blame nobody for that. I don't really know too much about my brothers. The one thing I could say was, baby, they ain't doing it like me. So here I was in a competition that they didn't even know they was in. They didn't even sign up for it. They younger than me. They didn't even know they was in. And I'm like, yeah, they didn't. I bet you they ain't got no masters. And my mama used to egg me on. I bet you they ain't got this. I bet you they not doing it like that. I bet you. And then I was like, what am I doing this for? Right? What am I going to do this for? To say, what am I in this pick me say, daddy, look at me, daddy. I got a master's degree. I got a doctorate degree. Look at me, daddy. I turned out to be something, even though you wasn't here. Look at me, daddy. What am I doing this for? To say, oh, you should have been around. See, you should have been a part of my life. I remember my mother used to say things to me like, yeah, his ass better not get sick and call you, because that's all how it always happened. The father, he always got to rely on the child that he didn't take care of, and that be the one that come and take care of him. What the fuck? Right? And so I used to hear shit like that. Like, here, he better not never call me. Whoop de doo. Where is this coming from? That shit does nothing but listen. Let's stop overcompensating for the man who didn't show up. Hmm? Listen, I'm gonna say this. You putting a lot of pressure. Listen, there's a lot of pressure you carry today that's not even yours. It's his or it's hers. It's your mama or it's your daddy's. You're overworking to prove that you are not him. You're overachieving to prove you matter. You're overperforming to prove that you are lovable. You're overcompensating your relationships, trying to be the provider, protector, and the peace, all while falling apart inside. But proving is the same as being. And until you release the man who left, you'll keep trying to prove something to a ghost. You didn't have to live. Listen, you don't have to live in reaction to him. You don't have to base your manhood or womanhood on what he failed to do. And you don't have to perform for for absence anymore. You get to define what adulthood looks like for yourself. I want you to know that you can father yourself now, even the women. You can father yourself now. A lot of y'all have been trained to be men, act like men anyway. You can father yourself now. This part is hard, but this is where the shift happens. You may never get that apology. Let me say that. Stop looking for an apology. Stop looking for an apology. Stop thinking because, oh, now my dad is older, maybe he know better. No, he's still the same idiot. I believe that people after the age of 21, you make whatever decisions you're gonna make, and that's who you are as a person. People be trying to convince me that my oldest son, oh, he gonna grow up. That motherfucker is 28. That's who he is as a person. And guess what? I'm gonna love you from over here. I I'm gonna love you from over here. I had an amazing time with you as a child. At this point, you're an idiot, and I'm gonna love you from over here. That's who you are as a person at 28. This is who you are. It would take an act of Congress, an act of God, right? Listen, you may never get that apology. You may never hear "I'm proud of you" from his mouth. You may never get the moment where he finally shows up, sees you, or says everything you need to hear. But you can give it to yourself. Huh? You can say to you, "I'm proud of me." I act of Congress, Angel. I'm proud of me. I'm enough. I'm doing better than he ever taught me to. And I love the person I'm becoming. See, reparenting yourself, and we talked about this in the other book. Listen, reparenting yourself. I'm saying you can say this to you. You right, you may never get that from him, and you need to go ahead and come to terms with that. So when you come to terms that this person ain't never gonna give me what I'm looking for, what I'm asking for, what I need, because they don't have the capacity to do it, or they just choose not to do it, then you start doing it for yourself. You say to yourself, "I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, Misty. I'm proud of you, Coach Misty. Look at you, girl. I'm proud of you, stink stink." Huh? Say, "I'm enough. You're enough." You understand me? Hey, guess what? You have excelled more than what people thought you would do. You are amazing right here, right now. If you do nothing else, listen what I tell myself sometime when I get to adding shit into my pot. If you don't do, I say, "Coach Misty," she said, "Yeah, bitch. If you don't do nothing else, know that you have done enough. You have exceeded your own expectations and those of everybody that loved you. You are enough right here, right now. If you don't ever do another thing, you have done enough." You understand me? And that gives you peace. Also, I love the woman I'm becoming. Or for the men, I love the man that I'm becoming. I love the woman that I'm becoming. I'm in my Spike Lee era now, in case y'all wondering with my with my hats and my glasses and my shoes and shit. Y'all ever see me on the street? I love the woman I'm becoming. I'm returning back to who I was as a child, not in a childish way, but I'm returning back who I was as being free. As being free. When I was growing up, I didn't give a damn what nobody said what I wore. I wore what I wanted to wear, and I went out the house in my as Cardinal say, my Cindy Lauper shit, and that was cool, and that was who I am. I'm returning back to her. I'm free. You understand me, right? I want you to know, listen, reparenting yourselves means being the father that you never had. Reparenting yourself means being the father that you never had to the child who still needs guidance. It means checking in, affirming yourself, learning what no one taught you, and teaching it with love. And that's not delusion, that's divine healing. And before we go in, before I log off of this thing, I want to say this to say that the cycle can end with you. Yeah, the cycle can end with you right now, today. Make a decision. You might be the first in your bloodline to even acknowledge this pain, to speak the truth, to tell the story, to say, "I needed him and he didn't come." That's not bitterness, that's bravery. You're not just listening, you're not just healing for you, you are healing for your future, for your children, for your brothers, for your daughters. You hear me? For your friends who didn't know how to say this out loud. You are becoming the man or woman that absence never created. You understand me? But presence is shaping right now. You were unfathered, but you were not unloved. Listen, you were unfathered, but you are not unloved. You were unprepared, but you are not incapable. If this don't touch you, I don't know what will. You were prepared, but you are not incapable. You were overlooked, but you will never be over. Hmm? You might have been overlooked. Yes, this is a conversation to have with your grown kids. Absolutely. You might have been overlooked, but you will never be over. Huh? Not on your watch. You hear me? The cycle ends with you today. Woo! Listen, yes, this is a conversation to have. Listen, look. I want you to listen. Before we go, I'm gonna show you how to get online. Before we go, I want you to say this out loud right now. It don't matter where you are. I want you to repeat after me before we go. I want you to say this out loud. I was raised without a father. Repeat after me. I was raised without a father, but I will not raise myself with that same emptiness. Hold on. It's a nice little paragraph. I was raised without a father, but I will not raise myself with that same emptiness. I forgive the man who didn't show up, not for me, not from him. Hold on. Let me stop because baby, I'm about to get emotional. I forgive the man who didn't show up, not for him, but for me. I release the power. I reclaim the power. I release the pressure. I parent my inner child with compassion. I'm not doing this for applause. I'm doing it for peace. I may have been unfathered, but I'm still a king. I may have been unfathered, but I'm still a king. Y'all need to pour into y'all kids. Yeah, listen, I don't care. You got a son 10 years old. You need to sit down and read this book with them. You need to pour into your children. I may have been unfathered, but I'm still a king. Women, stop trying to listen, stop trying to train your sons up in the way that their fathers didn't do. You are robbing them of their childhood. Mothers, stop relying on your oldest daughters to become second mothers in the household because you don't have a mate to help you. You are robbing her of her childhood. Huh? You are robbing her. You are creating resentment in your listen, you are creating resentment in your child. Right now, stop. Stop putting her in charge of the house. She is not in charge of the house. Allow her to be a child. Every time, if you are a mother with multiple kids, every time you have another child, you are cutting glisten. And again, I wish I would have had this train of thought when I was younger, but I didn't. But here we are. So, hey, I may not have been able to teach myself this, but I can definitely help the next generation. I can definitely help the next group of people coming up. Every time you have a child back to back, you are cutting the childhood off. Listen, you are cutting the nurturing in half. When you keep having multiple kids and you don't have nobody there to pour into you, you are cutting the nurturing in half till there's nothing left. Till there's nothing left. And then we look at the oldest children and we tell them to be hard and don't stop crying because you got to give to this little one. You keep having children, women, young women, if you're listening to me and your eggs are still working, I ain't talking about the ones in your refrigerator. I ain't talking about the ones in your refrigerator. Stop having all these kids back to back and you have no help. This not even from a financial standpoint. This is spiritual and emotional. You have nothing to give them. Nothing. It is impossible to nurture a bunch of kids if you've never been nurtured yourself. Stop. Stop. Hold on, y'all. When these women call in on my lives at night, and I talk to them and they ask me about these men that they dealing with, and then they say, "Oh, coach, I'm pregnant," or this, that, and the other. And then oh, I'm pregnant and he don't come around, or I just had this baby and he ain't nowhere to be found. And I promise you, I asked them the same question. If y'all ever watch me on my lives at night, it's a different vibe. I asked him the same questions. I said, did he have a father? No, his father was in jail. No, his father was on drugs. I said, he didn't have a father and you expected him to be a father? That's a turn of events. That's a turn of events. And then I asked the women that called in, I said, was your father around? No, my father was in and out, or I didn't really know who my father was. I said, so you watched your mother raise you by herself, you and your siblings. Yeah, 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 she did it. You know what I'm saying? She worked hard, and that's why I'm working hard. So now you done turned it to your mother. Oh, okay. And you wonder why your choice of men is raggedy. Either your mother didn't have a man or she didn't choose wisely. And here we are. You're repeating the same cycle. Huh? And you know what I tell them? If you can, do not have any more kids with a man who don't want kids. Stop having kids with men who don't want kids. Stop having kids with men who don't want you. If you listen, stop having kids with men who don't want you. Anybody can make a decision to start parenting, regardless of how they was raised or whatever. They can make a decision to do right. 9 times out of 10, when you're dealing with a man who did not have a father in the household, who did not have a strong masculine, somebody of a parental role in the house, their feelings are attached to the feelings they have for the children are attached to the feelings they have for the mother. because that's what they saw. Do you understand what I'm saying? Huh? 9 times out of 10, when a child grows up without their father, and that father didn't have a father, 9 times out of 10, when he stopped dealing with the mother, he stopped dealing with his children. You know why? Because he saw that happen, right? He saw his parents, his mother and father got into it, and then his father stopped coming around. His father wasn't attached to him; he was attached to the mother, and this is just history repeating itself. So stop laying down with people. Listen, stop laying down with people who don't want you. Because if a child comes from this, they be like, but he no, this is child. He need to take care of him. He don't need to do nothing. Stop laying down with people who don't want you in real life. Stop laying down with people who don't have a future for you, who don't talk about a future. Stop laying down with people who don't have a future for themselves. Huh? And I'm not saying that you have to be married. Listen, I'm not saying that you have to be married, because married people can end up single. A married woman can end up a single mother by, with the stroke of a pen, or something happened, or the turn on the clock on the hand. Something can happen and she can end up a single mom as well. But stop having babies with people who don't want you, who don't like you like that. People ask me, I've had people ask me, even men that I've dated in previously have asked me. I have two, I have it's, I don't like the term baby daddy. I have two children's fathers, right? Two children's fathers. And I have a good relationship with both of them. I can call either one of them right now at 5:38. I can call either one of them. No, we're not messing around. Our kids is grown. Grown. My oldest child is 28. My youngest is 22. I can call either one of the dads and say, hey, woo de woo de woo, right? Even if I needed something. And people be like, girl, y'all get along so well. And that's like, how do you do it? You know why? Because even at a young age, I realized that I wasn't doing. Listen, I looked at what happened to my mother, and I took, even as a young age, even though I wasn't supposed to be doing what I was doing, I laid down with people who liked me. I laid down with people who wanted a future with me. Or maybe that shit didn't work out the way it was supposed to. Because guess what? I realized that in situations like this, the man, listen, me and the man not in the same household. Of course, when I was a teenager, we're not in the same household, right? So he has to form a connection with this baby. And 9 times out of 10, the first love that he gives the baby will be reflected of the love that he has for me. So guess what? I had kids with people who were in love with me. Not just in love with me physically, but in love with me mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And to this day, damn near 30 years later, they still have love for me. And that way, my kids didn't miss a beat. Even if we wasn't together, they were still there for their children. You understand me? There has to be some type of connection to the child. If that father not going to be in the household with that child every day, right? Regardless of how it happened, there has to be something. And 9 times out of 10, his love for the child is a reflection, is an initial reflection of his love for the mother. That's how men, I talked about this the other day, that's how men are able to go in and be good stepdads. That's how you be like, this man married her and she had how many kids? And he raising these kids like his own. Because again, a man's love, DNA or not, is connected to how they love the mother. The love of the child is how they love the mother. You hear me? Because the mother and the child is the package deal. Not because the child is there. The mother and the child is a direct reflection of the mother. So if a man is totally and honestly in love with you, he will see you in your child. And he will therefore love the child as well. You hear what I'm saying? Come on, somebody. Huh? That was my little TED talk. All right, y'all. Now, at this moment, I've been online for an hour and a half, right? Now, the book, we did not finish. Come on. We did not finish reading No Father, No God, but Still a King. We had chapter 8, which I'm not about to read. Learning to be soft without losing power. Right? Learning how to be soft without losing power. Right? Then you need to buy the book for your goddamn self. Let me show y'all how to get the book. Okay. Oh, okay. Let me show y'all how to get the book. Let me do that. First of all, welcome. Good morning. My name is Coach Misty. Welcome to the Coach Misty Effect. I am here to coach you. I am an author, a certified life coach for almost the last 20 years. Okay, and overall bad bitch. No, I'm just playing. and and also listen, and also a spiritual, what I like to call a spiritual CEO, right? So I'm helping you to reclaim power and strength and live the life that you want to lead. You understand me? And we first gonna work with with that inner child. So if you are to go click the link in my bio on TikTok, or go ahead and take a screenshot and visit iamcoachmisty.com, you are going to come here. Hold on, y'all. Let me refresh it because I refreshed it. You are to come here. All right, so this is here. Now, any of the books that I was talking about today, you're going to click here and you'll find all the books. For instance, you said you need a word from God today. We'll come back later, girl. I'm coaching right now. If you click this, bada boom, bada bing, it's going to take you to where all my ebooks are. We got How to Make 5K in 30 Days. We have the Money Micro Map. This is teach you how to manifest $500 in 7 days to repeat the process. We got the 2026 Number Bible and Money Blessings book, right? We have No Father, No God, but Still a King. This is what I've been reading from that got y'all all worked up. We also have Boom, Daddy's Little Girls, men and women. Y'all need to get both of them. And then Girl That Is Not. That's what I'm gonna read from today. I'm about to read from Girl That Is Not Your Man. Oh, somebody need to hear that. I'm about to read a little bit from Girl That Is Not Your Man. So anyway, so that now I'm about to read from Girl That Is Not Your Man, real quick. Real quick. Real quick. We gonna close today out with Girl That Is Not Your Man. Girl That Is Not Your Man. Jesus Christ. I'm not gonna read the introduction. Listen, Girl That Is Not Your Man. Yeah. We gonna close out with that. Yeah. Yeah. Cause some of y'all hosts need to hear this shit. Now we didn't got all emotional with Carl. I'm emotional and I can't let go. Looking ass. We didn't got all emotional. Now we gonna close out with Girl That Is Not Your Man. The fuck? Okay. Yeah, meow. Let me go ahead and change this picture because if I get to reading this shit, then people gonna be like, what she say, Jesus? Take the wheel. Lord. Yeah, let me go ahead and change that out. I mean, if y'all gonna get the book, go on and get it. But y'all, somebody need this work. Girl, hold on. Girl, that is not your man. Thank you, Lord. Somebody need to hear it. Okay, hold on. Let me find the thing. Oh, Lord. I said I was going. That's what I'm gonna do when we get off this live. I'm gonna go ahead and put all of my books in one little folder, so I can just go ahead and click the folder and grab the book title. Baby, we about to do girl, and some of y'all need to buy that book and just send it to one of y'all homegirls, your sister. Don't even tell the bitch. You just girl, send it to Office Max, print it out, and just hand it to her. Here, bitch. Yeah, here, here, here. Hey, read it. Call me later. Okay. And here, and this is not just for people, and people think like, oh, the title of this book, girl, that's not your man. You must be talking about side chicks. You know what, Girl That's Not Your Man is on audio form. I just gotta put it out. I was gonna put it out at the first of the year. I did that, but I'm working on it. Listen, y'all. Listen, this is not for side chicks. Some of y'all are in full fledged relationships with a person that's not your man. So I don't want y'all to get this twisted and be like, oh yeah, baby, this for this side chicks. I don't need to hear this, baby. This for y'all. This for y'all too. This is for some of y'all old hoes in situationships. Yeah. I'm gonna let y'all pick. Pick number one or two. Number one or two. Pick. Number one or two. I'm not gonna start from chapter one. What number one or two? I got a one, I got a two. Which one? We got a one and we got a two. I got two, two, one, two, one, one or two, two. All right, we're gonna start with chapter two. Chapter two says, side piece energy, main character pain. Welcome to a Girl That Is Not Your Man looking ass. I want you to know this. You are not confused. Huh? You are not confused. You just don't want to call it what it is. So let's get right to it. Question: have you ever been in a situation where everything felt like a relationship except it wasn't? Yes or no? Answer in the comments. Have you ever been in a situation where everything felt like a relationship except it wasn't? You spend time together, you share secrets, you support him through his storms. He leans on you like a wife, pulls from you like a partner, touches you like he owns you, but won't even post you. Huh? You are his go to, but never his girlfriend. My God. Huh? You're there when he needs you, but nowhere in sight when he introduces his circle. He swears he ain't dealing with nobody else, but you never even seen his house in the daylight. I want to say this and say that, friend, you are not the main character. You are the supporting role in his love life. You are living in side piece energy and it's breaking your spirit. And the first thing y'all hoes holler is that he not married, coach. He's single. So how can I be a side piece that he not married? Listen, I want to break something down for you real quick. Side piece energy has nothing to do with his relationship status and everything to do with yours, Jesus. I'm say this again. Side piece energy has nothing to do with his relationship status and everything to do with yours. You are the side when you are not centered. You are the side when you are not centered. Huh? When your value is downplayed, when you are kept hidden, when your voice is small, when your needs are ignored and your presence is optional. If you are not being claimed, prioritized, and poured into consistently, you are not the main, you are convenience. And I know, Pookie Butts. It's hard to hear, but it's necessary because this game of almost will drain you. Almost exclusive, almost official, almost in love, almost happy, almost enough. The question is, how did you become the side without even knowing? Baby, and not be talking about side pieces and side dishes on the night before Thanksgiving. How did you become the side without even knowing? I'll tell you. Because you led with love and ignored the labels. Huh? You told yourself, I'm not like them other women while becoming exactly what he needed and nothing that you needed because you fell for potential, because he was different, because the chemistry was crazy, because the connection was deep, because the conversation felt like soul ties. But I want to say this, so did the lies. And now you are stuck in a relationship with hope. You're not in a relationship with a man, you are in a relationship with hope. And hope is the hell of a what? Drug. You pray about him. How many of y'all praying about somebody? You daydream about him. You protect him. You defend him against your own intuition, but deep down, your soul knows that he's not yours, not emotionally, not spiritually, not in the ways that matter. You are giving main character energy to a man who's written you out of the script. Now, should I go on or do you want me to stop? Should I go on? Yes or no? Yes, no, maybe show. Should I go on or is that enough? Is that enough? We can go ahead and wrap this shit up right now. If that's enough, I want to thank y'all. Y'all been rocking with me. Oh, they say go ahead. Let's talk about the pain of pretending not to know. This is what messes me up with y'all. The pain y'all call me, coach. Did this man really love me? Bitch, please. The pain of pretending not to know. You know what hurts more than being a side piece? Choosing to stay one. As I lean off the screen, what hurts more than being a side piece is choosing to stay one. Let's talk about the moments we ignored, huh? Let's talk about when you're always the secret but never the celebration. When he only calls you after 9 p.m. When you see him in public, but you have to pretend like you don't know each other. When he tells you that he ain't ready, but you see him building with someone else 6 months later. That's not confusion. That's clarity that you're avoiding. We act like we don't know because knowing means making a decision, and decisions mean grieving what we thought it could be. But at some point, you have got to stop grieving a relationship that never had a birth certificate. I want you to know that you deserve a front row seat in your own life. Hmm? I want you to listen to me. You are not here to audition for affection. You are not a snack or a secret. You are not the warm up act for a man who's still trying to figure himself out. You are the main character. You are the show. You are the moment. But you, friend, have to act like it. You can't demand. It's called Girl That's Not Your Man. Go to imcoachmisty.com. Click on the link with the little girl. That's all where all my ebooks is. That's what I was telling y'all. If y'all go to the site and you click on the link, click on the one that say for Daddy's Little Girls, and say for Daddy's Little Girls ebook and more. You click here. This one is all the way at the bottom. Girl, that is not your man. Yeah, it's okay. Listen, you are the show, you are the moment, but you got to act like it, right? Huh? You can't demand center stage if you keep playing your role in the shadows. Listen to this. You cannot manifest king energy while babysitting boys who never grew past middle school attention spans. Let's go ahead and check the evidence. Let's get out your feelings and get into the facts. Put a finger. I want you to answer this question. Put a finger up if he's ever called you his woman in public. Put a finger up. Put a finger up if he's ever called you his woman in public. To other people, the people that he know, put a finger up. Put a finger up if you feel secure with him. Put a finger up if you feel secure. When his phone rings, you ain't looking at him crazy. Put a finger up if you feel secure with him. You ain't, every time his phone ring, you ain't looking at him crazy, and you ain't like, put a finger up. Put a finger up if he has made plans that include you next month. Put a finger up if the man has made plans to include you next month, next year, or in his lifetime. Put a finger up. Put a finger up if you met people who matter to him. His friends, his siblings, his parents, his children. If you met people who matter to him. Put a finger up if you have clarity about the situation. You don't have to ask him, what are we? Because you already know. He's told you what this is. Put a finger up if he told you what this was. You don't have to ask him, what are we? You don't have to assume. If your ass, listen, if your ass, well, the girl that's not your man, it's the same shit. If you a stud, it's the same shit. You want me to write, girl that's not your, you want me to write the stud version? If you sitting up here with no fingers up, or you got the sign for love, sit your ass down. That is not your man. That ain't nobody's man. Sit your ass down. If you sitting up here like this, or you sitting up here like you hitchhiking, sit down. It's not your man. Huh? Okay? I want you to know that you ask God to take this man or this person out your spirit every day. I want you to know that your deliverance is in the decision. How you pray for closure. You don't need closure. You need courage. You don't need another apology. You need alignment. You don't need more nights just talking. You need to tell yourself the truth. Huh? I'm not his second option. I'm my first priority. Because the longer you stay in the role of sometimes, the further you get from the always that God has waiting for you. So let him be confused. Let him let him be cowardly, and let him circle the block. But you let yourself go. Hmm? I want to thank y'all for rocking with me today. Listen, baby. Now I wrote all the books, but my favorite of this one, I want to say is probably Girl That's Not Your Man. That book funny as hell. So go ahead and get that, read that. You know what I'm saying? Even if you are not in a relationship, if you still have trauma and drama from a past relationship that you can't move from, that's possibly causing you not to be in a new relationship, go ahead and read Girl That's Not Your Man. This book is here to help you overcome any breakups you had and just get clarity with yourself about what it is and what it ain't. Cause listen, you can't tame it if you don't name it. Make sure y'all check out IamCoachMissy.com. Listen, now this one is on, this one is the actual book. This is on a different link where you could actually order my books off of. Right? Girl, fuck you. That's a self-empowerment guide. I told you I'm gonna get y'all together. Hey, Facebook, YouTube, you guys have been amazing.